Well, greetings. Welcome to House Discipleship Institute. I am your host, Elder Joshua Millar, bringing you an Intune with the Triune. Today is an amazing day because this is the day Yahuwah has made, and I shall rejoice and be glad in it. So if you're happy that you're alive and you're rejoicing because you are a new day, a new creation, you live and move your have your being in Him, you should rejoice and give Him some praise. Amen. Without no further ado, just want to say thank you for tuning in. Welcome to H2HDI once again. Hit the like, hit the share button, hit the comment button if you want to tell me what you have learned. Tell us what you want me to expound on, to elaborate in your research in regards to the shepherd and how we're here to be perfected. Because I myself right now, we here as sons of the Most High, a weos son, and remember there's 5 Greek growth levels. There's napios, there's podion, there's teknon, there's weos, and then there's pater. That's Greek level, but in Hebrew it is bet sephar talim, meaning disciple sons in the house or disciple daughters in the house. But if you understand what I'm trying to say is that us sons are trying to press towards the mark of the high calling. We want to rule and reign by restoring Yahuwah's original name. But we cannot do that today because right now we're sheep scattered all over the place. We're sheep's being lost, being tossed with another flock that ain't even a part of the Father, that we're just being saying, you know, we're listening to messages, we're listening to, and I'm not trying to say messages within the church. I'm trying to say we're listening to messages that are in the world that are secular, that we believe to be true, and we'll die for it. But how many of you know that there is actually a chief shepherd willing to lay down his life for the sheep? Do you know his name? His name's Yahushua. Do you know his father's name? Yahuwah. And if you look at both the Father and the Son's name, they are one. They are Echad. Because before the foundations of the world, before the Lamb was slain, the Father said, all right, I must first be intimate with myself to send a portion of myself out of myself to return all the sheep that was scattered in the house of Israel to come back to me. You're here in this earth, in this terra firma, because somebody has prayed earnestly for the groaning, because the earth groans for the manifestation of the sons. That's why you're here today. But like I said, today's shepherds are being highly exalted. Their souls are being so elevated that now we're even as the sheep are pumping up our apostles, our prophets, our evangelists, our pastors and teachers to live on a pedestal they cannot live on because they weren't called to live on a pedestal. They were actually I'm going to stop right there and think about this. The apostle is the lowest ranking. In the scriptures, it's the highest ranking because they're the ones to lay foundations, but they're also the lowest ranking because they're the ones laying foundation. Here, listen to what I'm going to say. The apostles today, or the shepherds, are there to actually take out the dung, take out the manure of where they need to lay foundation and build on that foundation. But we don't have that today. We have the opposite going on. In the realms of the church today, we have self-appointed apostles that don't identify with the death, burial, resurrection, and soon come and return of Mashiach Yeshua in you and I today. We have them based because they went to a 4-year college, they obtained a degree, they said, ooh, apostle, Dr. Reverend Bishop Josh Millar. Ooh, that sounds good. I'm going to call myself I was never called to be an apostle. I was never called to be a bishop. I was called to be a servant son, though. I was called to rule and reign before the foundations of the world. But the Father first said, you'll go through it, but first you must go for your schooling so you can understand how you're going to be ruling. Amen? And I'm speaking that in you and your life and in my life today. But I'm not here to be a person. How am I trying to say this? I don't want to just be a person that's here just to say I'm placed on a pedestal. I'm here to just be a king and that's it. I'm here to show you that within this lifestyle of discipleship training, within this lifestyle of being a son to the Father, because remember Yeshua said he didn't find himself robbery to be equal as one with his Father. Amen? But the problem today is that we are self-promoting our apostles and prophets because they went to a 4-year college. They're being called self-proclaimed. They're having self-proclaimed apostles within a small church and saying that was ordained by God. But when a true shepherd comes in who supersedes the fivefold, he knows how to place, he knows how to put order out of chaos. But we don't have that today because, like I said, all the sheep were scattered, we're all astray, and yet we're still trying to find where we can be perfected. The shepherds today are hirelings, and they're not after the heart of the Father like King David was. He was a man after the Father's heart. How many of you and I have been asking in our prayer time, Father, I want your heart. I desire for your heart's desire to be fulfilled in me. We don't pray that. I haven't prayed that, I'm not going to lie. That's why if you understand where I'm coming from, then you're going to understand that I'm going to put myself on blast a little bit. I right now, and spiritually speaking, am a teknon, a young man, a teenager. You give me the car keys from my dad, my spiritual father, I may be either doing one or two things, represent what I'm going to say. Hey, apostle, hey dad, hey father, I'm going to go get gas and I'm going to go get something from this store to eat. Or I can be mischievous and be a little goat and run away and say that I'd said and do something else that I said I wasn't going to do, but I did it anyways because I said, I got the keys to the Benz. I can do whatever I want. Then you're becoming a teknon. You don't know your own soul, your own spirit in certain arenas. So when you're giving the keys, you got to learn the first word, responsibility. But we don't have that because, again, we're being tossed to and fro, left and right by every wind of doctrine. We're getting tossed in the outer court, listening to messages that make our souls burn with fire, and then we listen to messages that allow our souls to be refreshed with rivers of living water. So we're getting tossed within that realm of the outer court. So it puts us in a state to either be a believing believer of the scriptures or a non-believing believer of the scriptures. Amen. And I'm trying to get to this scriptures right here. So if you go to John chapter 10, this is what it says in verse 13. The hirelings flee because he is a hireling and does not care about the sheep. Is that your apostle? Is that your pastor? Is that your teacher, your evangelist, your prophet? I've had this encounter happen to me. I was at a church one time, and the apostle, bishop, doctor, chancellor jumped ship immediately the next Sunday, and he says, I'm going to go 100% into the collegial Bible school, and I'm going to pass this church to another apostle. That wasn't the Father ordained. That wasn't orchestrated. That's a hireling right there. But Yahuwah said, I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and I am known by my own. Verse 15. As the Father knows me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. If you have a shepherd that is willing to lay down his life, you're able to call them at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and say, hey, I need to be ministered to. I just had a nightmare. I need to be ministered to. An event took place and I need to be ministered to. Or, we need to minister because something perspired, an event took place that you had to sacrifice sleep. You had to sacrifice whatever you're doing in the midnight hour to go tend to the Father's sheep. Do you know anybody who does that? And quite frankly, I can stand in the gap that I had to learn to do that at even a young age, to sacrifice my own sleep, to esteem others greater than myself. It's not an easy task because when you want to be a son and you want to rule and reign and restore his name, you have to go through things. Let me ask you a question. You can write this down in the comments below. If you are a shepherd, do you get hurt by the wolves that you see about to attack the sheep, or do you get hurt more by the sheep that you're tending from the Father? Think about that. Just really think about that. Write that in the comment, and we'll discuss that. But let's go on. Verse 16. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold. Them I must bring, and they will hear my voice, and they will be one flock and one shepherd. Oh, so wait a minute. There is many are called, few are chosen, and least endure to the end. That's the flock right there that the Father's saying. Will you be the one that will be the one that ends? I'm losing my train of thought right here. Will you be the one that presses towards the mark of the high calling and reach the end? Because at the end, we shall be saved. And what is the end? Well, what I'm trying to say, it's the end of your faith, the saving of your soul. But if you understand what I'm saying, then you understand it's not a soul desire, it's a heart's desire. Are you willing to lay down your life for the sheep to fulfill the desires of Yahuwah's hearts, his heart's desire, or are you still waiting for your own miracle? Are you still waiting to be, and are seated by a false shepherd, a false fivefold that's only promoting doctors, or that's only promoting apostles within a year online course? And we've been doing that so much that even the Father's saying, look, if my shepherds are not listening to my voice, then I'm going to have to take them to get a spanking. Ezekiel 34 verse 3. Go ahead and read that on your own time. But the Father has another fold, not of this fivefold or the false shepherd, but of one flock and one shepherd. So today's your day. This night, this morning, this evening, or whatever time you're watching this, do you choose to be one with the Father right now and be a shepherd over his sheep? Or do you choose to be with the false fivefold and just gleaming and just eating off the sheep of the Father? It's your choice, really. I know where I stand, and I know who I stand with, and I know where I stand. So until we see each other again, just want to say this. Thank you for tuning in to H2HDI. Don't forget to hit the like, the share button. Please subscribe for more content to come. We have Let Isha Speak. Isha, who is Prophet Virginia Gonzalez. She's a woman, a wife, and a warrior. And she prays for each and every one of you all over the world, as she says. And she says at every one of her broadcasts, at the end of the day, let's put a smile on. Amen. Continue to subscribe to H2HDI for more TerrorBites to come, founded off the book of Romans chapter 13, verse 3. I'm thinking Revelation 13:8. The Lamb was slain before the foundations of the world. But it's true, but also the TerrorBites are there to help you to become a threat, a terror, and a revenger to the kingdom of darkness. And don't forget our Sabbath live stream from 12 noon to 1 p.m. So that's encouraging to hear, powerful message. And please research what has been said, because we all need to be Bereans in this time. Proverbs 25:2. Let's turn there before I go. I think that would be wise. Proverbs 25:2. It says, "It is the glory of Yahuwah to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter." We need to research and search out a matter to make sure that everything that is said and spoken to be so. So in the name of Yahuwah, shalom to each and every one of you, and just want to say this, shalom, shalom. And this is the day Yahuwah has made. Rejoice and be glad. Amen. Shalom.